Now, this is the second time that I've heard there's some bad situations on the set of Avengers Doomsday. I'd heard some rumblings, some other people had come forward with some stories, kind of seemed halfway truthful, so I didn't really run with anything. But now we may have a full-blown Fast and Furious situation here. Lots of people not getting along, and a lot of drama, and a lot of wasted film. We need to talk about this, so here we go! First of all, how does this get off the set? How does this information creep away from the set in one of the most controlled situations that Marvel's had, despite having at least 60 people in the cast? Maybe more? I don't know, but it doesn't bode well for the future of this film and its eventual release. This is going to be a disaster because it already has been. And it's also quite a mess to be putting a film onto film, or any media for that matter, when you don't actually have a completed script. There's no path forward. And despite the fact that James Gunn may be breaking his own rule of not having a completed script, at least he's farther along with a 60-page treatment than even what Avengers Doomsday has, considering they are on their second and third writer at this moment, trying to get this thing to make sense or work. And with new rumors of new characters coming in all the time, and we'll have another story on that actually in this video, I'm just warning you. It doesn't look good. I'm talking about this from our friend Matt McGloin over at Cosmic Book News. You see, Avengers Doomsday Chaos on the set is real, which is why the title of this video is what it is. Robert Downey Jr. scraps weeks of filming? Egos clash? Fast and the Furious, anybody? According to Matt, Avengers Doomsday is already said to be facing behind-the-scenes issues with reports of actor conflicts and reshoots underway. It's claimed that Robert Downey Jr. demanded that reshoots and that the behind-the-scenes issues with the actors are due to a clash of egos. Well, I don't know, because some of these reshoots are going to make sense to everybody in just a moment. You see, Downey Jr. demanded full reshoots because, as Jeff Snyder claims on the Hot Mic podcast, Disney initially filmed 3 weeks of material with stand-ins for Downey inside the Doctor Doom suit, while the actor read the lines off camera. According to Schneider, Downey wasn't satisfied with the results, and after 2 to 3 weeks, he pushed to reshoot the entire block of scenes with himself in the suit. And you have to wonder, why didn't they do that in the first place? That's what you would expect. That's why you hired the guy. And you're going to find out how much they're paying him. From Jeff Snyder's own lips, I've heard that even though they paid Robert Downey Jr. 50 to 60 million a movie, which is not rumored, that's actually the ballpark here, if not the exact number, 60 million, Disney had to reshoot for 3 weeks. So the 3 weeks of material they had to redo. They reshot 3 weeks worth of material because apparently, this is just what I heard, they had an actor standing in for Robert Downey Jr., they had a body double, they had a face double, and Downey stood off camera reading lines, and apparently after those weeks of filming, he was like, this isn't working. I want to reshoot everything with me in the suit. What a waste. Why didn't he do that to begin with? And as I've already intimated, Snyder also compared the atmosphere on Avengers Doomsday to the Fast and Furious franchise. And if you know how those actors don't get along, you can only imagine what it would have looked like with RDJ and others on this particular set. He suggested there were ego clashes, testosterone-driven disputes, and disagreements over creative direction. And that doesn't surprise me. Downey is supposedly trying to get away from his Tony Stark Iron Man days, and the dysfunction that Jeff Snyder has heard that's on the set is rivaled only by Fast and Furious movies. I mean, we've alluded to an incident behind the scenes early this year, that was Jeff Snyder, that I did not want to go into details, and it was probably more of, you know, someone made it sound more dramatic to me than it really was. But, yeah, I think, again, there's just a lot of testosterone and a lot of ego on that set. A lot of people who think they know what way is the best, and in the end, there really is there really is only going to be one best way. It's going to be Robert Downey Jr.'s way. And I think the people that hired RDJ for this role are probably rethinking that right now. So if this is true, and I have no reason to doubt that it isn't, the reshoots reveal just how much power Robert Downey Jr. holds over Avengers Doomsday and how much the film's success depends on the actor's return to the MCU. Well, it was always going to be that way. Once you got rid of Kang, which was a disaster hire in the first place, you really need to have something huge to replace him. Enter the Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom, not to mention all the things that come along with him that'll be made a part of this 2-film series, if not 3 films. Don't discount the fact that they make this a trilogy. And as Matt writes, with Captain America, or in this case, Captain Anti-America, Thunderbolts, and now Fantastic Four, all flopping poorly, badly, Marvel could be put in full panic mode. Reports also suggest Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool were brought into Doomsday to help steady the ship, highlighting the pressure the studio is under to get this one right, because they haven't had a right one in a long time. If it weren't for Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, woof, they'd be toast. They have no positive to deliver from Marvel, and they haven't had it in a long time. And if what the next story we cover is accurate, and I have no reason to believe it isn't, we're going to get Team Deadpool as one of the players inside of this particular film. Deadpool has super new team in Avengers Doomsday, according to Scooper. And you know what? I'm just not surprised. We'll have more on this in a video coming up here later, but I have to ask you this. Avengers Doomsday is being directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, and the movie is hitting theaters December 18th of 2026, just a little over a year and a couple of months from now. The problem is that if they keep starting over again and are not satisfying the primary actor, is this thing going to come out on time? And if it doesn't, what do you stick in its place? That Christmas real estate is hard to come by, so you better have a massive winner. There are already too many people in this film, and you're basically adding at least 33 more, potentially, that will put this number as close to 60 as I've ever seen. And would it surprise me if it exceeded that? No, because they want to bring in all the rejected comic book characters that they've tried to force in Disney minus shows and even into movies, such as Miss Marvel, whose theatrical offerings rendered the worst performing Marvel film ever. So I ask you, with this kind of turmoil on the set of Avengers Doomsday, with the diva activities potentially of Robert Downey Jr., and with the headwinds of expectations not being able to be met for a Super Avengers film, has Disney, through Marvel, created their own Doomsday? I would say so, but I'm more interested in what you have to say. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Are you looking forward to Avengers Doomsday? Do you think they'll be able to pull this off despite the fact they're still operating without a full script? And do you think that Robert Downey Jr. switching characters is a gimmick that will actually play well? Or do you think it will lead to more frustration and confusion with a brand that's clearly lost its identity and its way? Let me know your thoughts again, if you have any others, down in the comments section below. Also, while you're down there, hit the like button and don't be afraid to share this on your favorite social media, because sharing the stream is sharing the dream. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! But maybe not at Avengers Doomsday.